That's why they call me, cause I be going on them. Ooh, they couldn't stop me if they wanted to. That's why they call me. I'm the inner.
Sweet Alice, it's so good to be here. Thank you so much for letting us into your home and to learn about you.
I'm so glad that you came.
Alice Harris, better known as Sweet Alice, was born into poverty in Gadsden, Alabama. Her mother was mentally ill, and her father never a present figure in her life. Forced by her situation to depend on only herself, Alice became an outcast, the bad girl, and was pregnant by the age of 13.
Then my father passed. I always used to hear my mother say, if you come up with a baby, you gotta leave here. You can't come up with no babies and stay here. We don't have room for babies. And my mother said, you like you're gaining weight. Is anything wrong? No. And then I was 14 when the baby was born in September.
Were you still living at home at this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I'm going, I had a baby.
But bad girl Alice's life was about to change. When Alice was 15, a neighboring well-to-do family needed a nanny for their 2 young children.
Mr. Kahn's mother owned Saks Fifth Avenue in New York.
The father hired Alice to nanny his children one afternoon, not realizing her reputation in the community.
He said, well, my wife is having a bridge party. Do you think you could go and keep the children for today? And I said, yeah. And I got to keep them lady next door to keep the baby. And I went. And when we got there in the garage and then we went up the steps, his wife, Miss Kahn, was passing the step and he said, guess what? Annabelle went to the hospital last night. But the gal across the street there from her, I brought her because you know you have your bridge party. Did you bring the bad girl over my children?
Oh my goodness.
Was that the bad girl? That's the first time I knew I was bad.
When Mrs. Cohen realized who was watching their children and saw the nurturing and brilliant way she connected with them, she realized she was not going to be able to find a better nanny for her children.
And then I said, you want to ride the horse? I'll be your horse, you ride my back. They had never heard of that. So that was amazing to them. So I get down on my knees, they get on my back.
The most fun toy.
Yeah, and I would open their mother's closet, and I would go, if you crawl under there, the clothes is hitting their face, you know, that makes it a lot of fun.
This started a new chapter in Sweet Alice's life. Mrs. Cohen took Alice under her wing and became a mentor and, most importantly, a mother figure that Alice had never had. Mrs. Cohen told Alice that she had $1 million smile and that people needed to see it.
Your whole life is in front of you, and you got $1 million smile.
One day, she asked Alice, what do you want to be when you grow up?
What I want to be, I'm all I can be. She said, well, what do you like to do?
Alice thought, I can be something? Somebody?
I said, I like to fix hair, and I could fix hair. And I fixed the folks, the cheering hair that was around me, and they'd give me a dime, sometime a quarter. But I said, I like to fix hair. She said, you want to be a beautician? I said, no, fix hair. She said, baby, that's the word for that. She said, say beautician. I said, beautician. She said, you got it.
Mrs. Cohen replied, that settles it. You are going to attend school and become a beautician. She paid for Alice's education, provided transportation, and encouraged Alice to live a full and accomplished life.
Changed the whole thing. Her need came, and I was ready. I accepted it. I could have easily said no, but it was my time. And when it's your time, you're going to move. You're going to do something about it.
When Alice asked Mrs. Cohen, how can I repay you for what you've done for me? She replied, do the same for others. Since that time, Sweet Alice has moved mountains and made miracles happen.
Find out what your gift is, because whatever your gift is what you're going to be good at.
So power combined with knowing what your gift is would be unstoppable.
You got it.
When Sweet Alice moved to Watts in her early 20s, she was asked, why did you choose to live in such a terrible place? Her response was, and is today, these are my people. They need me. Alice organized her first committee in 1979 with the purpose of improving the communications between the Black and Hispanic communities. She and her husband went on to found the Parents of Watts, which now sponsors more than a dozen food, clothing, and shelter charities and homes. She has been recognized in her community and on a national level and is known in the political arena as a woman who speaks her mind and gets things done. Sweet Alice's can-do attitude and roll-up-your-sleeves-and-get-it-done mentality have helped transform the community of Watts. She has a degree in sociology and child development, an honorary doctorate of letters from USC, and is the recipient of Maria Shriver's Minerva Award and numerous other recognitions.
This is how women stick together. See, women stick together like this here.
Despite all of her achievements and accolades, Alice remains modest.
I got to be Alice. I mean, there's no limit to what women can do when they bond together.
In 2004, Sweet Alice was on the receiving end for a change when ABC's Extreme Makeover Home Edition team selected Alice's home for their show after it had been flooded in a major storm.
Sweet Alice, a woman who thinks of others before herself.
Every time I think about how blessed I am, I just laugh.
In true Sweet Alice form, she said, "Look at my neighbors. You can't fix my house and not theirs. Either the whole block or none." So they did the whole block.
You feed 400 to 500 people out of that kitchen?
Of course.
She's just this bigger than life woman. I mean, she's so full of love.
Do y'all know you in work?
Half of this block we worked through 15 homes around here. Now, how do I be loved? By loving others. We need to stick together.
What do you think is the most important thing in life?
And nothing else is important than to help save a person from drowning. Love is free. You can't take it and you can't make it, but you sure can give it.
Sweet Alice continues her mission each and every day, doing the small things and the seemingly impossible things to help the people of Watts. With her $1 million smile on her face, she continues to change lives and make miracles happen.
We need to stick together because we as women are the strongest thing on this earth. And that's for real through thinking. We think differently. And most times we think better. You go, girl. You go, girl. I always say stop focusing on A and grab B.
So stop focusing on the problem.
That's it. Stop focusing on what didn't happen. And let's come up with something quickly that will happen. The most important thing in life is to love, because to love others, you will then feel that love. I get love from others, not from me. But the more you love others is the more love you receive. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to work for it. Just do it. You know, sometimes all a person needs is a smile. Sometimes all a person needs is to say, you can make it. If I put out hatred, hatred's gonna come back. If I put out love, love's gonna come back. And it's a known fact. It's so sweet to be loved.
One of Sweet Alice's favorite sayings is, "You go, girl." Well, Sweet Alice is exactly what being a go-girl is all about.
All right, I'm gonna do this for all the women. I know you can do it, because this is what I tell all the women that I work with, and I work with hundreds and hundreds of women, but this is what you need to know. You go, girl. You go, girl.
Sweet Alice, you go, girl. Give me 5.